everyone, welcome to stretching part 2. In today's video, we are going to be covering static stretching. So static stretching is when you hold a stretch for a long amount of time, about 30 seconds. These are stretches that you're going to be using after a workout primarily, and also to get into any serious muscle imbalances. So without further ado, I'm going to kick it over to Michael. He's going to explain more in depth about the why, when, and how, and guide you through some static stretches.
Thanks, Megan. As she said, today we're going to talk about static stretching. Static just means you're holding a pose. It's a common misnomer that you're supposed to stretch before a workout. We'll get into, we talked about mobility, which is important to do, and then also dynamic stretching you want to do before a workout. You do not want a static stretch. You don't want to hold a stretch before a workout. What that does is it increases the length of your muscle fibers, and studies show that that increases risk of injury and actually decreases performance. So you're going to want to do this after your workout. And now when you static stretch, when you hold a pose, you want to lengthen the tight muscles. Now that's going to depend on what is right for your body. I'm just going to give you a few stretches that I see a lot of. Most people sit a lot. So if you're sitting a lot, you're going to tend to have tight hip flexors, tight quads, maybe a tight distal hamstring here. If you're not going to really have tight glutes or tight proximal hamstrings here because you're sitting on that all day. The other thing you see a lot of is a rounded shoulders, so your chest is going to be tight. So I'll show you some good static stretches for that. You're going to want to see a trainer or come into CrickFit and actually get a length tension test to look at your posture to see which muscles are particularly tight on your body. You can also tell, like if you stretch a muscle and it feels tight, it probably is tight. A great hip flexor stretch. So if you sit a lot, or runners and cyclists and yogis tend to have really tight hip flexors. Your hip flexors is the only muscle that connects your lower extremities to the trunk of your body. It's also called your iliopsoas. So when you stretch, you want to think about lengthening from insertion to insertion. So hip flexor goes from the low back into the top of your femur here, and you want to lengthen that. Make sure to stay out of your low back, push the hips forward, and hold it for about 30 seconds. Make sure to breathe every time you exhale. Try and get a little bit deeper. If you want a little more intensity on that one, you can reach your arm up and over, long side of the body. 30 seconds, hip flexor stretch. From here, you can go straight into a quad stretch. Quadriceps are right on the front of the leg here. Again, sitting, running, cycling, all those activities tend to tighten the quads. So just reach back with your opposite hand, pull your heel in, hold, 30 seconds. Every time you exhale, try and pull it in a little bit more. Always do both sides. If one side is tighter than the other, you could start with that side and then go the other side and then back. So I tend to get really tight on my right side, so I go right, left, right. 30 seconds each side. Once again, you're doing that after the workout, not before. A great distal hamstring stretch. So if you sit a lot, this tends to tighten, not this, right? So same starting position in a lunge, kick your leg out, flex your foot, bend at the hips, and gently come forward. You should feel that right in the back of the leg. 30 seconds or more. You can always hold a stretch for longer, but it takes at least 30 seconds for the muscle fibers to release. When you first stretch a tight muscle, the body's initial response is to hold, to resist. So if you can breathe through it and just kind of hold, you'll be able to relax the muscle fiber and be able to get a good stretch. So those are my top 3 lower body ones. We could get into a bunch of different hip stretches, but that's for another video. Just one more that's really good. If you can get a stability ball, and you're going to want to put your shoulder and your elbow at 90 degrees. Here comes the ball at me. And you're going to open that front of the shoulder and drop down. Let's see. Right about there, turn away, and you should feel that right in that front of the shoulder. That's your pectoralis minor, responsible for internal rotation of the shoulder. If you have any of that going on, you're probably going to want to stretch that muscle. So those are the top kind of 4 stretches I usually recommend. Once again, it depends on your posture. If you're standing all day for your job, you're probably going to have some different imbalances. You want to get those checked out. As Megan has mentioned, stretching is paramount. It's going to help you fix your muscle imbalances, get your posture better. It's going to help you.
Hi everyone, thanks for watching today's video on static stretching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our video, and stay tuned next week for video 3.